told he can't get over me having a threesome 5 years ago. I met a guy not long ago, and he was the first guy I've been genuinely excited about in a while. It's been almost 2 years that I've been single, and just haven't felt like entertaining anything or anyone. But this guy, I was very excited for. So, long story short, he asked me one day during spicy texting if I have ever had a threesome. I responded honestly, which was yes. 5 years ago I did. Told him I didn't much enjoy it. Hence 5 years ago being the last time I did it. This was apparently enough to not want to move forward. And while I understand that we both reserve the right to end things at any time, it just felt so odd. He admitted it was due to insecurity. And I definitely was far more understanding than I feel he deserved in this situation. Also, I asked him if the situation would have been different if it was a 2-girl 1-guy threesome. He said yes. So not only is this guy insecure, but he definitely has so misogyny going on. It's just so odd. This isn't who I thought he was at all. And I'm thankful he showed his colors are incompatibility early on, but it's still triggering that. Must fix this and desire for him to say sorry and that he wants me. I should have just said well okay. Bye. But it really triggered something within in me to want him more. And surely I was a little desperate sounding. Sending long texts, etc. But it wasn't like he wasn't entertaining it. Like he was dangling something in front of me that he knew I wanted for his own amusement. Today he shares a post with me on Insta after not talking for a few days. And in response I'm a little rude back, which I now understand was my attempts at bids for his affection. His response was to remove me as a follower and unfollow me, a hit to the ego for sure. Not my finest moment, but I can't change it. I'm not going to text him despite me wanting to fix the situation. I'm going to leave it where it is. But I feel disappointed with myself for entertaining the game. I just feel like I should have been stronger and let him go at his initial attempt after the threesome thing. Any advice for moving forward when you feel rejected and upset with yourself because you knew better? How do you deal with the overwhelming urge to prove yourself when rejected? How do you deal with the overwhelming urge to prove yourself when rejected? I don't. I remove all traces of them. Texts, messages, social media, and go no contact. That allows me time to reflect, learn and move on. Cheers. I dated a girl who told me she had a threesome and I said okay. That doesn't matter. She then said it was with one of her cousins and I then said, now that matters. The relationship didn't last long after that. I don't care if you have threesomes, but I do when it's with family members. Stop contacting him, he does not want you. And you know what? That is okay. Sometimes people are incompatible and it is better you know now than years into a relationship. I know you are in the mode of wanting to prove him wrong or regain his interest because of how this rejection has bruised your ego. But you need to reframe this situation as less of a rejection. You're simply not moving forward with a particular connection because you're not compatible. I still stick in the when barely talking to someone you have every single right to not to continue. If you don't like them, yes, he has the right to not want to be with you. Rejection sucks and it happens to almost all of us, but as adults we just move on and try to get over it. You're allowed to do what you want with other consenting parties, adults OFC, so his opinion shouldn't even be relevant. Not my finest moment, but I can't change it. I feel disappointed with myself for entertaining the game. I just want to add that I really admire your self-awareness and ability to reflect so even-handedly on the situation. We all make silly choices sometimes. But it often takes guts to allow yourself to dwell on them and therefore be able to learn from them, grow from the experience instead of just feeling embarrassed and banishing the whole situation to the mental cringe vault. Op. If you haven't heard Silent Bob's speech in Chasing Amy, you should look it up. It beautifully describes a similar situation, the emotions involved and the wisdom I hope people come to. If it wasn't this, it would have been something else later on. Well done, you found out early on. Ah, I can understand the disappointment. You were excited, that's fine. Try to remember though, if before you knew him he had something on his profile that said threesomes with another girl are fine. But if you had a threesome with two dudes, you're nasty, then you never would have talked to him in the first place. 'Cause you'd know right away he's got issues with women and sex. And that knowledge would have prevented you from getting excited about him in the first place. Shades of Chasing Amy. Hugs. He told you honestly the reason. He is insecure. Many of us would be. That has nothing to do with being misogyn. This is something I need to point out. If someone rejects you, it's better he did it early than later in a relationship. That person is not right for you. That helped me. My solution was always to meet more people and expand my circle. The more people you meet, the better your chances of finding the right partner. His insecurities are not your problems, there's nothing to fix. Kind of curious if the motivation of the question was to steer you towards a FMF threesome anyway. It's pretty common thing. I'm sure your answer came as a shock, tears of joy. This guy could not handle a threesome if this simple scenario makes him uncomfortable. A guy broke up with you because he's not that sexually adventurous. Pat yourself on the back for screening him out and move on to someone better. You're better off without someone who's insecure about something you did 5 years ago. That's wild. Reminds me of my ex who was mad that I wasn't a virgin when we met. They were like, sorry I didn't have you in mind years prior to meeting you, lol. You dodged a bullet. Was it a clean dodge? No. But would you rather have caught it in the chest? Dude is at least a red flag, but clearly displayed some traits which could be indicative of larger issues. Your response to him and feeling like it was out of character, if I read you right, could indicate he knows how to play people like that. None of that is remotely good. Look at it this way. You came this close to a much worse time. How much energy would you like to invest getting closer to that happening? Or thinking about it? If you read the Madonna Whore Complex, it will tell you everything you need to know about this guy. You'll lose respect for this guy, and then his rejection won't hurt as bad. Honestly, I'm just impressed by your insight into yourself and your own feelings and motivations in this situation. You just need to find a guy who is similarly self-aware. So maybe the key in the future is to flip it. Instead of trying to prove your worth, focus on what his reaction says about him and whether that's something you want in a partner. I had a similar situation with a guy that couldn't date a bi girl. I tried harder to get his attention and, he got me pregnant and left. Couldn't ruin his life with a kid right now. Girl, sometimes the misogynistic trash takes itself out. Let it. Making someone's past sexual relationships a basis for current sexual relationships is dumb. The way I see it, your past sexual relationships let you know what you like and don't like. Your current sexual relationship is a combination of everything you liked. Some people take a little longer to learn their likes and dislikes. Who cares? What matter is they like you now. What does it matter how they got there? You are the one who checks all their boxes, pun intended. Be happy that you excite them.